Rise for the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Meeting is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of June 24, 2024 was included in a list of meetings notice sent to the Hunterdon County Democrat and Courier News on January 3, 2024, posted on the bulletin board at Borough Hall on that date, and has remained continuously posted as required. In addition, a copy of the notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of the Borough Clerk. Roll call, please.
Sure. Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Here.
Councilwoman Pissarro?
Here.
Councilman Levitt?
Here.
Council President Long?
Here.
Councilman Parker?
Here.
Council Vice President Rossetti? You're here. And Mayor Karen.
Here. Are we able to, did you hear her? Okay, good.
Very.
Okay, as long as, okay.
Oh, she's muted. That's why.
Can you hear me? I was unmuted.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Good. Okay.
Thank you. I just have a couple of things. Number one is there is going to be a special meeting on July 8th with the Environmental Commission and members of the Shade Tree Commission. We're going to notice it as a joint meeting in case the Shade Tree Commission has enough members coming. They're going to be discussing the shade tree, the ordinance that the state has come out with the draft on shade trees and tree cutting, as well as the planning board's draft proposed checklist for completion, and also work with them to create a new list of trees to be required for plantings from the planning board. Our tree list is very, very old. Beth McManus has offered help on that front. So it will be noticed and it will be open to the public, and I think it's going to be offered by Zoom as well to accommodate Councilwoman Rossetti and anybody else who wants to call in to hear those discussions. I also was asked by a Bunnell Street resident, Jim Falke, to express his, I'm not sure what the word is. He was questioning whether or not there was a resolution passed to fly the pride flag at Borough Hall, and his concern that it is a social policy statement or social position statement that's not grounded in federal or state law to fly such a flag, and that he would in the future like to see public discussion on this through either posting a resolution on the agenda or a ballot question. So I am iterating that to all of you. I wanted to say to Councilwoman Engelhardt, you did a great job on the grant. I do have a couple of comments when we get to that for the energy grant, and I think there was something else. I'm blanking on that, but I'll remember and put it at some point. Council member reports. Councilwoman Engelhardt.
Yeah, I only have one thing tonight, and that is on July 13th. The Funhouse is having their annual ice cream social. 1 o'clock.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Pissarro.
Only thing is tomorrow evening, the planning board should be introducing a finalized completion checklist, which I think is going to enable our developers to come to the table ready to be reviewed and discussed. So please dial in if you're interested. I did take a look at them, and to thank all of you who have been backing me up the past few weeks. That's much appreciated.
Councilman Levitt.
Sure. For the HPC, there will be a joint planning board / HPC meeting to finalize the details of the historic district boundaries. Now that I'm reading it, I realized I did not write down what date that's going to be, but I don't think that's finalized yet anyway. Next meeting for them is July 17th. Over the weekend, I got to participate in the Flemington BioBlitz, where 16 citizen scientists participated and made over 450 observations and identified over 250 species. I did take a lot of pictures of things that I have absolutely no idea what they are. So if there's anybody out there that's a taxonomic expert or That's why, how to identify bugs, plants, mosses, fungi. Check out the Fungus and Biobits project page on iNaturalist to help confirm some data. And of course, I just want to shout out the hard work of the volunteers like borough resident Jesse Smith, who was here a few times, I think, who spearheaded this event. You know, it's people like him who, use their expertise to give back to the community and organize events like this to bring our community together. I did also want to thank the Borough Police for listening to some feedback from the community and putting up the signs reminding people to watch for cyclists. I really did appreciate seeing that. And lastly, fireworks will be on July 3rd with a rain date of July 5th at the Reading Farmington Intermediate School Field. The field's open at 6 p.m. and fireworks will launch around 9:15 p.m.
And that's on the list.
Is that correct? Yeah, it is posted on the website. Yeah, that's everything.
Thank you so much. Is Mr. Smith a borough resident?
I believe so.
I think he is. Is he?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Fairly certain.
I did not know that. You don't know. Okay.
It
Great.
wasn't.
All right. Council President Long?
Yep, only a couple things tonight. Fire department, next meeting is July 9th. As far as Office of Emergency Management, the Community Emergency Response Team, also known as CERT, assisted with the summer fiesta. 4 members were deployed. Also, CERT was at a community outreach tent helping residents with disaster preparedness and registering them for borough emergency alerts. And that is my report.
Okay, great. Thank you. Councilwoman Parker?
Yeah, just a couple of things. First of all, I really had planned and intended on going to the Fiesta event, but something sidetracked me, called a health problem. I do want to bring this up because I know the signs are an issue that everybody's wondering when the signs are going up. And
This is the wasteland finding signs.
yes. But what FCP has done is they have hired both a marketing company and an architectural company. And what the purpose of it is to develop a unifying message and seamlessly integrate all the characteristics of the business district. I think this, I mean, I love the idea of this. I've been a part of this for a bit, but it finally came to fruition last week. And they're going to be designing, they're going to be working with the colors and each district kind of trying to integrate them and saying that this is the business district or the highway. So they're going to try to integrate all of it. What I asked Robin to do is to invite both parties in to a council meeting, to a work session, so that they can introduce themselves, they can tell everyone what they're doing and why they're doing it, and bring some of the things that they're looking at doing into the council meeting, so that we would be the first people that would have a view of this as opposed to going through all these other steps. Because what the whole idea is to eliminate all these steps, go to people who have the direct knowledge and have the expertise on doing this. And they've been very successful in other municipalities. So they will be here. Robin's on vacation this week, so we're planning that probably either in the next one or the one in August that we for work session. It's a brilliant idea. I mean, I love everything about it. The other thing is that they're planning, I'll let Robin talk a little bit more about this, but in August, the Hunterdon County, we're teaming with Hunterdon County, and it's going to be done in Stengel. They're going to have an event for families and kids and the whole bit, and it's sponsored by both the Giants and the Eagles. So both the Giants and the Eagles. It's going to be very cool. So again, I will let Robin, I don't want to steal it thunder, and she asked me to mention it. I am going to help her champion this. We're looking at August 17th.
Is it a Taylor Ham versus Port Royal party?
God, no, hopefully not, I don't want. No,
No bills, no secrets.
no. We're gonna stick to the home team.
Okay.
And finally, you know, I just want to do a shout out to the Hunterdon Medical Center. I hope they're listening. I told them that I was going to do a shout out. But I have to say, my mother-in-law was rushed to the hospital and she's been in there for like 3 days or 4 days. That medical center is spot on. That the service, the people are so attentive, the nursing staff, I mean, just like everybody is so attentive. It's just amazing. So I do want to shout out to them. I think we were lucky to have them in our backyard. As I saw ambulances from Lambertville and New Hope and other places coming in, I was thinking, wow, we are pretty lucky to have that right on that. So that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Council Vice President Rossetti?
Thank you, Mayor. I don't have anything official business-wise, but I do want to just give a shout out to the library. Summer reading started today, so my daughter's really excited, and I just wanted to point that out. Anyone listening with kids, get them over there. They run a really great program for the summer, so that's it.
Liz, thank you for mentioning that, because I've been pushing it out there, so it's wonderful.
We enjoy it every summer, so I just want to make sure everybody knows about it.
Okay, great, thank you. All right, we're public comment session number 1. If you have any public comments, please come to the microphone, state your name, your address for the record, spell your last name for our clerk, and it's limited to 3 minutes. We have a second one at the end of this meeting. If you are shut.
I'm going to preface this bill coming up, but what I heard is that people don't want to come, but they're afraid to come.
Oh, dear.
But
Okay, what this is
And I
about,
was telling-
overdose.
But I told them that no one should ever be afraid to come to a council meeting because this is a safe place. And so we want that community to come here and talk about what they need to talk about. There's no judgment here. We just like to hear it. So thank you for coming. So.
Okay, so I need your name, spell your last and your address.
It's Maureen Dietrich, and I'm in Hunter Hills, Clementon, New Jersey. So, honestly, I thought there was a water shortage problem. Mayor, I didn't understand. I can only sit and comprehend. So I've been at Hunter Hills, I think 16 years this year. And, the water was always included in the rent. And I was paying my bills. I'm never in default. I have a good record. I've never been in, what's it called when you don't pay your rent? Landlord court?
Delinquency? Oh,
Yeah, no,
okay.
I've never, and that's pretty scary to me. But, also, there are some people like me on disability that have, well, I'll speak for myself. I have my sister do my bills with my money online paperless. And, with this lease, I went and spoke to the landlord, which is the manager, not the landlord. I've never met the owner. I've been there that long and I've never met him, so I don't know. However, when I read, what prompted me to read the lease, to be honest with you, I got a threatening letter from the landlord's lawyer. I don't know who else got it. I didn't ask, but I've heard from no less than 10 people in the complex that are really scared. And I didn't ask them if they got a letter, but I certainly did. And at the bottom line, I should have put my glasses on, but the bottom line says that it's going to take me to tenant court if I don't pay. And the thing is, I'm on a fixed income that.
You're paying what? Be specific. You don't pay
Is it
what?
your sewer water? Or
Yeah, now
is
it's
it
for water,
sewer water?
but the kicker is there's 1 meter per building. And it's myself and my daughter, but downstairs is 6 boys on one side and 4 on the other and 3 on the other. And as I much love it, like Donna does, watching all the kids play, we equivalently, that she said that with the lady on the phone, explained to me, because it's Clearwater, Florida, they outsourced to Clearwater, Florida. We're now having, my bill is from this company in Clearwater, Florida. And when I called them, it wasn't even a water company, it was a third-party company. And when they broke it down for me, I said to him, how did you get like all 12 doors? How did you know how to quantify? And the lady goes, well, it's not fair. And that was Thursday. So then I spent Friday crying and now I'm here.
Did you go into a new lease recently?
Well, that's the thing too. I am on disability, so my lease gets electronically signed every year when I go to the Veterans Memorial Centerville section for housing. So that was, I don't recall ever walking into the office signing a lease. Mayor, never. So when I really like our management that are on that premises. They're so nice. So I think that, yeah, I don't want to start no problems.
So here's,
But the thing is, before I lose my train of thought really quick,
Oh, sure.
my calculation over the weekend, I will be in that court that I just mentioned, rental court, it's got a name, what's it called?
Landlord tenant court.
Thank you, sir.
Got it.
That I'll be in November and by November. And so it'll wreck my credit.
We sent out, we got aware of this from another resident. I think it was last month or the month before last. And, our DPW committee, which is Councilman Parker and Councilwoman Officer and myself and our DPW staff. Had a letter sent out to every resident over there saying, please know, this has nothing to do with us. Like, we're not doing this to you. We send one bill to, quarterly or every 3 months, we send one bill to the owner of Hunter Hills. So this is being done privately by him. And, I'm gonna ask our attorney to weigh in, but I talked to our DPW superintendent who runs the water and sewer departments, and he believes that there's nothing we can do about this because it's being done internally through your leases. So.
So here's what I have to say though. Some of it is low income housing. And the only thing I can think of is somebody's trying to squeeze, you scared me. When I was hearing voices, she said hi. That's
Yeah,
scary.
I was nervous.
I know that the anticipation of the Flemington Borough upgrowing with the Liberty Village and Main Street, I feel like we're trying to get squeezed out, but where are you gonna squeeze me to?
Has anybody spoken, before we go on, because I know you're gonna end up saying something, so why don't you give us your name and address for the record?
Okay, go ahead, Ellen.
Just so that when you want to say something, I don't have to stop you.
You need last name too?
Last name,
Donna Nage?
okay, Naves,
Yes,
and you're at Hunter Hills.
yes.
Okay, that's enough. So has anybody gone over and talked to the Hunterdon County Social Services Department that handles the low income housing? At all, to
No,
see
first of
what
all,
they think?
If
There's
you
anything they-
Google, utility help in Flemington, it says there is none on Google. So I just looked at all that on Thursday when the lady on the phone told me that she agreed when she finally told me it wasn't even a water company or storage company, that it was a third party company. Well, my eyes crossed because that's over my head. Now you're really like ping pong.
Right, our water sewer company sends out bills every 3 months to your owner, your management company. We send out one bill. They send us a check. And then always they had been collecting it through your rent. And then suddenly we know a month or two ago, this started because we started getting complaints. Why are you billing us? And we were like, we're not billing you. So we sent out letters to everybody at Hunter Hill saying, this isn't us.
So
You
I have a
find
question.
yourself
I
that-
just need
that-
clarification, so I'm not DPW. But are you saying that you're being charged for your water through your
Absolutely,
lease?
they are.
In addition, you're getting another bill?
Yes.
Yeah.
And it used to be
I'm
included in
also
your
saying
rent,
that if
right?
you're on Clearwater in Florida, that he
Did they-
outsourced to, why would,
Did
why
they
would?
raise your rent on top of this?
I was told that my rent was not touched, that the rent that went up. Now I just have a storage water bill,
So they didn't
so.
raise your rent, but what they did is they pulled out the sewer water and now they're charging you separately for that, which isn't a rent.
Did the rent stay the same or did it go down? No, it stayed the same, right?
The rent
The rent is
changed.
still the same for me, but I can't speak for everybody else.
Well, it's still the
So
same
you,
for you too.
so the month before this happened and the month after this happened, you paid the same amount in rent, correct?
Yes,
And then but the month that this happened, right, you had your rent bill, always the same. Now you receive a utility bill from this third party in Clearwater, Florida. It says now you owe this much in rent. You got a sewer bill having never gotten. before.
right, but the thing is, and all the other bills, by the time I get the disability check, all of that goes to the bills.
And you said that you don't recall signing a lease?
Well, I know I signed a lease when I go there, at December, I go to Somerville, the section housing.
In something.
Yeah, and every year I have to sign, then it's electronically. I don't go to the office here and sign a lease, but I don't know if that's here or there. I'm confused as why there's 600 water companies in New Jersey. And my landlord is outsourcing to Florida, because when I
That's a
go,
bill, that's a bill.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
that's what we were told.
yeah,
There's
so-
so many rumors started.
Yeah, that's a bill.
Yeah.
So what they probably did was they said, all right, I don't know for sure. Never heard of this before today, but probably they said, all right, well, we're gonna outsource the collection of this and they pass the charge, the one bill, they meter, Mayor,
They have 1 meter per building.
So it's 1 meter once a year. They,
Per building.
yeah, like.
Divided by 20,
14
like,
buildings.
by
So
12
how
units per
many
building.
So what they have is they just passed the.
Rather than raising their rent, right, they pulled it out and then they're charging them separately.
So what the idea is,
The rest is getting raised. I mean, it's been raised. Mine specifically, because I'm on for disability, it's a different thing. But my one neighbor works 3 jobs. 3, this woman works, and she's got 4 little kids and she pays her rent and her bills. But now she's crying of this bill and they're gonna move. Like, everybody is scared of moving or doing.
There's Hunterdon County Social Services that can manage, that, well, can they?
Well, see, this is
How
the
many
thing, it's
months
like
is there?
a lot of their rent is
There's not
controlled.
any doors.
That's what I'm saying.
But
And
it's-
there's
that's why they're
44
using that.
bedrooms, and the rest are 1 bedrooms.
and are you being billed now as a flat fee or as a meter? Flat, fee, right?
No flat fee. It's different every month. And that's what I said to the lady, what's the magic in the
You have a
math?
meter in your unit.
There's 1 meter per 12.
I know that, but how could they possibly be billing you?
That's what I said to her on Thursday, and I just
I don't know.
took Friday to
So
melt down.
my suggestion here is, I don't think there's, because we just give them the bill, right? I think that your best bet would be, Adrian kind of said this about social services, I wouldn't say social services, but go
Housing,
to,
housing,
housing is fine. We also want to go to legal services of, Northwest New Jersey. You guys are a tailor-made case for them. They handle landlord tenant all the time, and I think that you guys are potentially a class, a bunch of you. And I think that that group would be more inclined to bite on a case like this. They have discretion in the case that they take. But I think they'd be more inclined to bite with a big group of plaintiffs, right?
Okay.
So my suggestion is, I think they have a satellite office in Huntington. They definitely have one in Summer, it's in my building. I would take your case to legal services. I think that they try to help the most amount of people that they can, right? So get a list of all your neighbors that have been affected, have you ladies and maybe a couple others go schedule a
We
meeting
have a
with them.
list of 20 names so far, and
Yeah,
it's growing.
grow- yeah,
I
yeah,
said
grow it,
to them,
yeah.
I would bring the names in, but like, nobody wants, and
and
I
I
also
also,
want.
this is Northwest New Jersey does this pro bono.
It's pro bono, yes, but they don't take every case, right?
Right.
So, but I think they're more inclined to take the case, a large group of plaintiffs. And so all of these landlord tenants, right?
Carol Ford has a list of affected residents as well.
Yes.
I have a question.
That'd be my.
Is it legal to have like 1 water meter for say 12 apartments?
It is, because,
Really?
yes, yes.
Yeah, okay, all right, fine, but what if it's overcrowded with people? I don't think it's fair. How do they break this down? You know, I live alone. So, and then recently I've been billed twice in 1 month. They're trying to say, oh, well, one was for April, blah, blah, blah. And there's 2 amounts on there. If you're late, if you don't pay the first one in time, then the second one is gonna cost more.
It's a $25 fine each time. I tell you.
So when you say there's overcrowding, and that,
Oh, yeah.
this
So
big
it's
time,
usage, right? So.
but more than usage is, what is the occupancy per unit? That's allowed.
Well, there's
My
a
going
there
is-
is Supreme Court rulings on this that says, who's gonna tell 9 justices of the Supreme Court they can't live in the same house together? You don't wanna go there, so,
Yeah.
but I can tell you, I used to live over in the condominiums of Flemington South behind McDonald's, and they have 1 meter per building, and they would just divide, there was 8 units, and they would divide and I was by myself.
So is that South Estates? Because my best friend lives there and she said it's $30 a month for her and her boyfriend. They've been there 10
I'm just
years.
saying, the way they used to do it is they got the bill, there were
That's how they do
8
it.
units, they took the bill, they divided it by 8, and we all paid 1/8, even though I lived alone, right?
Yeah.
But that's how they did it, so, but that was American Water, you know, big company, this is, you know, I mean, for us, we run our own water company, but we have, you know, however they've done this to you, we have nothing to do with
Do
this.
you have a suggestion? Oh, you already did. Where we go?
And that's free legal, if you get taken by them, it's free legal.
That's.
Yeah, I think we just make the list, bring as many names down as possible, 4 or 5 people, you ladies are very articulate. Go down there, make your case and see if you can get them, but I think they would, I'm not gonna guarantee it.
Yeah, right,
But I
That's
think
just
that they
it
would.
though. I mean, a lot of people's complaining, but nobody wants to do anything. You know what I mean?
Is there a
It's like
fear?
if there's not enough people, you know, nothing's gonna really get done.
Well, you know what, I think it is, so this is how people, right? Because everybody's afraid there's gonna be that much, right? And so they don't want to take off the landlord because then they think they're gonna get that. But you have to understand, there is strength in numbers. There's always strength in numbers, and that's what they need to understand. The community needs to understand, if we as a community join together and went forward, then you've got a case, and he can't come after everybody. He or she or whoever they are can't come after everybody. So I would, I think Chris Christina actually gave you some great ideas. He actually has found a location for you guys, so.
It's the old egg auction.
Yeah.
The legal services, they're in there.
You do it with that one this year.
So you might want to just start with that and tell them what you're telling us. Tell them what you're telling us and let them help you.
You know, there's a lot of stuff going around that it's not a water and sewer company, that it was a collection agency.
Yeah,
So, and I'm like, if it's a collection agency, what are we paying for here?
Yeah.
I need to know
Right.
what I'm paying for, I'm on a fixed income, I can't be shelling out money and don't know what it's really for, I don't know if this is a scam or what it is, I don't know.
no, I think we all feel your pain.
Yeah.
So I think let's start with what, so you know where it is. Why don't you start with that?
Thank you very much.
Let's see how.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. First of all, thank you for bringing this.
It is, if they need any information, just tell them to contact me. Okay, that's how we work, and
There's nothing that can be done about the overcrowding, no?
there's always, we do have a zoning officer and a building maintenance, property maintenance officer. And we just recently hired a housing officer who can do summonses for overcrowding. We did not have one of those on staff, so we could not issue summonses. So now we do, so we can. So, all you have to do is like make the police aware of addresses, and we can send an inspector out and we can issue summonses.
And the names, I will say this, that
It'll be all on.
that we understand, I understand that just safety issue alone, please do that. Please follow up on
Yeah, go
that,
through
safety alone.
Go through the police and they'll keep it on.
The buildings have occupancy limits, and if you notice that they are above those limits, you should report.
Oh, yeah, way,
You should report it, and Mayor Adrian, others have said there are.
It's a safety issue too.
Yeah,
Fire,
yeah,
it's how you manage an emergency,
I know, it was,
very concerning things. So,
yeah,
thank
I
you.
know one year, me and someone else came here and, I think, I don't know, was the lady, you're the mayor?
You were there, a woman there. before.
Yeah, and, yeah, she went into, I think, I don't know how many of the apartments, and she said it was like a fire hazard and all the plugs and, oh my God, and the mattresses and.
But the problem is that we didn't have anybody who legally could follow up under state law.
Yeah.
So we just recently hired two gentlemen who can.
So now.
So now we have the legal status to issue summonses for things like that. So you just have to just let the police know, tell them, tell them what you want to tell them.
I don't mind speaking out on things, it's just, I don't wanna get in trouble myself. You know what I mean? It's like,
Don't worry about that.
I'm
Don't worry
doing
about
things I just don't wanna,
I say it,
It's a very powerful tool
Yeah.
when used
Yeah.
correctly.
yeah, believe me, I stay in trouble, so don't worry about it. Really don't
I
worry.
say things this way.
That's how progress is.
Yeah. I think that's what everybody,
Don't-
nobody
don't
else is
worry
here.
about it.
We really appreciate you letting us
Thank
know,
you.
this,
Yes.
because like I said, we knew about this a couple months ago. We did send out those letters, but our hands are really tight.
Yeah.
Because this is, they're paying us, we bill them, they pay us, and we have very little control over how they bill you.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else from the public have anything?
I want to talk to her as a sewer and water operator.
Go talk to her.
It's 125 gallons per person per day. They should break it up to how many people are in there.
They should, but they don't
So I'll
want
just privately.
That's okay. to. Anybody else from the public? Okay, seeing none, moving on. Approval of minutes, we don't have any. Consent agenda, we have one, resolution on, resolution 2024-102. Resolution to renew the Borough of Flemington liquor licenses for the 2024 license term. Did we ever hear from? So the council needs to decide what you all want to do with the, what's it called, the circle one? It's the TGIF license.
Yeah, wait, it's here, club.
Is that the circle something or other,
Uh,
emeralds, diamond gems?
not stage
Like
coach,
the
that's
ladies.
coach.
That's, yeah.
Cyclops.
Cyclades.
Oh,
Yeah.
Cyclades? Cyclades?
Yeah, pronouncing it wrong.
Yeah, associates, yep.
Right, so, I know the council president, I think you're the last man standing, sent out a letter to them, or took some action in 2021 or 2022, telling them they needed to get that license active. And,
I actually remember this.
and here we are a couple years later. That site, they haven't used the license since TGIF closed. It's now in pocket. And it may actually be seized, by the state and returned to the borough on August 1st. It remains to be seen how that law, that the new law.
Well, that was
Works.
gonna be a question of mine to Chris,
Or-
and that are we, in jeopardy of losing that license completely? if
No.
We don't approve this.
No,
That, you know, that's-
we are not. The law says that if,
Huh?
There's told you.
yeah, we are absolutely
I'm
not.
answering my
If the law, if they do nothing and it goes in pocket on August 1st, the understanding of the law is that it is going to be taken from them by the state of New Jersey and given to this body.
Well,
To then
Okay,
put back out for sale.
That was my question was, do we lose it forever?
No.
Or or we get to reward it as a,
We
as
get to
the,
reward
as
it
the
out.
council?
We get to put it out for auction.
Wait, I
and-
understand. That's.
And the owners of that, the current users of that license or holders of that license have the right to sue the state of Jersey and Flemington Borough for doing such. So it's gonna be a big mess because the law's silent on all of that.
Yeah, and then
Um,
there's a property, that's the property interest,
Right,
arguably.
so Carla did invite them in to tell us what's going on and they did not respond at all.
What, Tuesday, before I left.
Never heard a thing. So we have until, we can wait until the July meeting.
No,
Right,
I have to renew
Yeah,
it.
the renewals are July 1st.
Hmm.
Right,
Yeah. I have to renew it like tomorrow,
You can add
and
interim if you want.
then we have to,
how do we do that?
wait to
Chris?
see how the state. Because my understanding is they have another year. That's how I read it. That they paid and did everything.
That's
You can still give them an ad interim and try to get them in,
how does it work?
and that would. Just do like an ad.
They have to go to Trenton and pay $75
Yeah,
That's all.
No, for the lapse.
for the ad.
yeah.
But I mean, even as a lapse, that seems like a really low fee.
Well, it just gives a.
It's weird. Some fees are high.
So what is that? So that gives us time to talk about this again in July and ask them to come in July.
Yeah, I mean, do we have a pipeline somewhere there?
That would be neat. I mean, I could. You know, it's a messy family business. Like, that's all I can say publicly. I mean, I know that there's a lot of family members and I try to get along with everybody, which is what I always try to do, get along with everybody. And, I don't even know who the managing partner is over there, so,
Donna's,
or Geno's.
yeah, or Gina's or something. Yeah. That's who I emailed because that was the email on when they paid the state.
So what are we looking at as far as the resolution at this moment? Approving everybody, but doing what with this other, like,
So how, like, is that a motion to do it in that, like, what is it? What
Yeah, I
do
mean,
you do?
typically, I mean, you have to get the consent of the applicant. I mean, they typically give it rather than put a shadow cloud on the license. I've done one where they haven't shown up before, Mayor, so, we can approve it and then hope that they pay the fee and they're back in 30 days. If we don't do it, it's considered approved anyway.
But isn't
So-
it in our best interest to not approve them? If, because then it triggers, I am. Well, I asked you my question before.
I can see you out of my privilege looking at us and I'm like.
No, I'm not looking for you for approval. I
Oh, thank
asked
you.
Chris directly the question before, but you had answered it, so I'm kind of directing it to both of you. isn't it in our best interest not to approve this group? Because then it would trigger a review by the state in some way, shape or form. I'm looking for the left as well
Say no.
to talk to my council members.
Yeah, I've only ever done it in terms of my consent. They're typically done by consent when there's issues with the license, conditions that are in dispute. To have a license that's a pocket license, I mean, honestly, if you don't want to say, you know, I mean, I don't throw it back to Carl, but if you
We've
have,
been putting up with this for years and losing money on it.
Well,
yeah,
but again,
Wait, why are we losing money?
We're, because the license isn't being used.
Yeah,
We're
but
not
you're
getting the
still
tax.
paying the $2,500.
We're getting the whole license fee that anybody else would pay, but we're not generating.
We're not generating taxes
Business.
based on sales that they make though, because they're not.
all types of losses, you're right.
But yeah, but we have other places in town that would love to have the license. And
Right.
Absolutely, but
Right.
meanwhile, we've been losing all this money.
So here's my question. So I just want to make sure I understand the state. So if we didn't approve this, that's what I thought I heard, if they don't do the right thing, the state kicks the license back to us. If we don't approve it, will they kick the license back to us anyway?
That I don't.
So,
Because that's what we really need to find out.
the licenses are owned by the borough, and they are basically leased to these license holders who then treat them like their family assets,
Okay,
or that they get hereditarily passed down or whatever, but they are all legally owned by municipalities.
okay.
So
So if we say no,
if we say no, we'd have to have a really good reason to say no. I mean, it's really opening up the borough. Well, other than it's not being used, and, yeah, I don't know what was in that letter that was sent out a couple of years ago by that council back in 2022 or 2021. But, you know, we're here tonight, like, we have to make a decision on what we're doing. I don't think we should not do anything, but I think we should use the adding service. Yes, please.
Why don't you, move on to the introduction of ordinances? I will look at the specific facts here, as I said, but these items before the never got consent. So give me a second to just take a read through the regs.
Great idea.
I would suggest,
Do you have the email I sent?
I do, yeah, but it doesn't cover that issue.
Not the added rules.
Wouldn't the resolution?
I do,
from-
like you said.
Yeah, but in that email, it says if they paid everything, you should renew it.
Typically you would, yeah. I mean, if you want to buy some time here to see if you can try to,
Yeah.
my,
I mean, the issue is that it hasn't been used in years, and it wasn't used in the last restaurant they opened, so it went in pocket.
so,
So this is, I mean, this is
yeah,
a,
I think Carla's right. I think she's right. I think that the sole question here is there any ability to get this group in here to discuss it with them? And what the exposure would be before they kind of get a renew? So, Carla's undoubtedly right about, I think, the underlying interpretation here. And I would say that, well, there are some things that I would say that I think the underlying open public meetings act exceptions, we probably want to discuss. I would,
exception number 9,
I'm in favor.
never used.
So I would say that, well, to evaluate the exposure of the borough, I would want to observe the executive session.
Okay.
Can we table this and
No.
while he's,
Oh,
or later into the meeting while he's
Yeah.
looking this up?
It just-
And more important, and also in addition to him looking this fact up, maybe he can actually find that resolution from 2022 on our
It
website.
wasn't a resolution, it
Jeremy-
was a letter.
Letter.
It was a letter.
Okay,
Jeremy's looking.
okay, good.
All right, so we're gonna keep moving through the meeting while you're going through this.
Don't we have to table this?
And we don't have to table, no, we're just gonna move on.
Okay.
All right, introduction of ordinance 2024-17, an ordinance amending chapter 7A, traffic schedules to create a four-way stop intersection at Broad Street and William Street, and to add 2 compact car parking spots on Broad Street proximate to William Street. So these 2 compact spots, just for everybody's memory, they're both north of William Street, which is downhill so that people can see around them. Can I have a motion to introduce, please? Sarah will introduce. Is there a second?
A second.
Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Nagar.
Yes.
Councilwoman Pissarro.
Yes.
Councilman Levitt.
Yes.
Council President Long.
Yes.
And Councilman Parker.
Yes.
Council Vice President Brooks.
We heard her once. Thank you. Public hearing to be held July 15th, Carla. Thank you. Okay, public hearings. Ordinance 2024-14, an ordinance amending chapter 4 licensing of the municipal code of the borough of Flemington to amend the licensing fee applicable to medical cannabis facilities. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Parker, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
This ordinance is now open to the public. Anybody wishing to speak on ordinance 2024-14, please come to the microphone, state your name and address for the record. Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Parker, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I have a motion to adopt ordinance, I'm sorry, all in favor.
Aye.
Could I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2024-14? Is
So moved.
there a second?
Parker, second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rossetti?
Yes.
Thank you. Ordinance 2024-15, an ordinance amending section 1201 of the code entitled Words and Terms of Art Defined for Public Art. This is the new public art ordinance, giving some guidance, teeth, legal to the new Public Arts Committee. Can I have a motion to open to the public?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Parker, second.
All in favor?
Aye.
The public hearing is now open on ordinance 2024-15. Anybody wishing to speak on it, please come up and state your name and address for the record. 2 minutes.
Excuse me, I have a question.
Come to the microphone, please. I need your name and address
Oh,
for the
I don't live in the borough though, I just had a question.
That is public hearing. You can live in your booth and you get to speak.
Djibouti.
Djibouti?
Djibouti. Did you move on past the last one?
Marijuana?
Yes.
Yes,
So there was a question in the back.
Wait. The mayor.
done and over.
Yeah, that, it went so quick, she was like, what's it about? I don't know anything about it. She's a borough resident.
Oh, well, I'm happy to explain that, but you have nothing on
Okay,
this one?
after.
Okay, let me get through this one.
Go,
I'll
go,
have to
go.
Explain it. Okay, all right, public hearing, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Engelhardt will second.
All in favor, please.
Aye.
Thank you. Can I have a motion
No.
to adopt ordinance 2024-15?
So moved.
Is
Parker,
there a
second.
second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rossetti?
Yes.
Motion has passed and adopted. Ordinance 2024-14, the medical marijuana. When, we had our administrator wrote the ordinance on the facilities here, medical and retail licenses. And he neglected to put a licensing fee in for medical, so we've been losing money. So we just added in a licensing fee to the medical license to be equal to the retail license, which is $10,000 a year. Because we lost all that money. So that's what that did. Okay, regular agenda, number 12. Number 5, resolutions 2024-103, resolution. I watch those typos, Carla.
I know.
Of the mayor and council of the borough of Flemington consenting to assignment of the contract with LMR Disposable for solid waste collection, disposal and recycling services. FYI, LMR sold their business to another carrier. The people with whom we have been running it for us are staying on, which is the good news. So our DPW superintendent will be monitoring the services to make sure they remain the same quality that we've been enjoying here in the borough. This just allows everybody to know that it's been sold and makes it all legal that we've got a new carrier, which is the same guys, but under a new name. Can I have a motion, please, for resolution 2024-103?
So moved.
Is there a second? Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rossetti?
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution 2024-104, resolution authorizing Frenchman Furlow Associates to file an application for treatment works approval permit for the construction of adjusted wastewater collection, treatment, and disposal system to serve the proposed addition to the property known as the Spice Factory. This is state law. TWAs are required by the DEP for buildings over a certain size. They have to have concurrence from the governing body that they've got the sewer water reserved. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Parker.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasaro?
Yes.
Councilman Levitt?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President.
Yes.
Susan, is this your grant?
This is mine.
Okay. Resolution 2024-105, resolution of the Borough of Flemington adopting the Community Energy Plan, CEP, as part of the New Jersey Board of Public Utilities CEP grant program. I would ask for two changes, minor changes on this. One is that the category for training EMT first responders on e-bikes and e-cars, their batteries, that it go from medium to high because of the explosive nature and danger of those batteries and what's been happening, especially with the e-bikes. Right now you have it as a medium.
Yeah, I can, you're talking about section 1.2?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah, I'll leave the 1.3 as a
Yes.
medium because that's,
Yes.
from what the fire, inspector explained to me, that's above and beyond.
Yes, but the
First
training,
responder.
the training one, I think. is-
And then there also, I'll make a suggestion as well, because there was similar training that actually the fire inspector was even more interested in doing was for the solar.
I saw that, you have that as a high already, that's why I was like, why
and
is
I
that
put-
as a
I
high?
put that as a high because he was so excited about it,
Okay,
as opposed to, the medium for others.
Yeah.
The Sustainable Jersey, person basically told me, don't put anything as low. So everything that is
Yeah, I
either
just
medium
think
or high in this,
those
but yeah,
batteries are so dangerous, that it really should be high.
that's
And then
fine. I
the
can
other
do
one
that.
that I would ask is that the solar, not solar, the electric car one for charging stations and all that, you have currently as a high, I would move that down to a medium.
Well, the reason why I put that as a high is because we were awarded a $10,000 grant
Mhm.
for equipment.
Mhm.
And my concern is, I want to make sure we at least figure out, number one, if we want it. Number two, if we're at a deadline to lose that money in order, and number three, if we do want it, we need to find gap funding to put it towards. So the priority isn't to necessarily execute it, but it's to follow up on, hey, we received this grant and I want to make sure that we take some sort of action if we do
I
need to
think
take
part of the
some.
problem with those are these charging stations are all car brand specific. So if you go to Wawa where they have Tesla ones.
That's pretty much only the case with Tesla.
Yeah, not,
The rest of
not,
them all
that's
use a
not,
common
it's not
charger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
totally accurate.
Mhm.
Yeah. Like I said, the only reason I did it as a high was because one of the action items or possible action items was, there's this grant hanging out there from October 2022 that I want to make sure we follow up on. You had expressed, asked about an email that you had gotten about an old, grant application that, Chris Runyon had applied for. And, you had gotten some sort of email about it and asked me about it. And I said, there's another grant that was awarded in sometime in the spring of 2023. Just want to make sure that if we are eligible for something and we want it, we get it. If we don't, we follow up and say, thanks, BPU, but no thanks. But either way, that's why I put it as a high, not necessarily that there was some pending action that really could affect us.
Does anybody else have any other before we, because once we make the motion and everything, then we're kind of locked. So anybody else have any comments that they want to make or suggestions on the grant?
Is there any cost to borough? On some things with that, it's
No,
Just
Susan,
us,
Susan
okay.
Susan received a $25,000 grant to put this in, so we can get better money later.
This is actually not a grant that I'm applying for. This is the execution
The plan.
of a grant that was received not by me, but in 2022 by this council. So first of all, this is not applying for a grant. We already got the money. The grant money was to make this report. So we now have to file this report with DPU. We are eligible for more money if this report's on file with DPU. So I just want to make this clear.
That's the
Right.
goal.
I'm not applying for a grant. This is what we have to do because they gave us the money.
Right.
There's nothing in this that, and she made that very clear to me as well. We're not obligated to do any of this. This is actually a fluid document. So in theory, we can update it anytime we want.
One of the things that the councilwoman also put in after she and I talked about this last week was this whole idea of idling because of the traffic that's going to be created from the hotel and all these other sites, and that, you know, might be able to get traffic studies paid for out of this, and, you know, other
That
stuff
was
like that.
directly as a result of our conversation at our traffic,
Yeah, traffic,
committee
the
meeting.
traffic committee,
So I literally picked that out of the traffic committee meeting and I went, oh, we can put that in there. After I asked, you know, Marcia suggested it and I asked the Sustainable Jersey lady, she went, yeah, so there, I actually created 2 custom sections just for that issue. So yeah, I think some of the goals that we have in mind, like the windows and doors that we desperately need here, those are in here too. And again, we're not obligated to buy windows and doors, sorry, Carla, by doing this, but we may be eligible for money to pay for those windows and doors by doing this. So
Okay, so
that's the difference.
This gives us access to money.
Yes.
yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
let's go.
Can I have a motion to
No-brainer.
approve this resolution?
Laura, Laura will move.
Somebody.
We're all anxious.
Okay, can I have a roll call, please?
Councilwoman Engelhardt,
Yes.
Councilwoman Basara,
Yes.
Councilman Levitt,
Yes.
Council President Long,
Yes.
Councilman Parker,
Yes.
and Council Vice President Rosetti.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Chris,
all.
have you gotten, because I can go into the work session if you want.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you all very much for.
Thank you very much for writing that.
Well, now I have to actually work for the rest of the week on it. So thanks for giving me more work this week.
Won't take long, but
Hmm,
I would be more
Okay,
comfortable.
fine.
Be interested.
Okay. All right, under work session, discussion of temporary signs on Main Street banner. So I asked to put this on because I got a phone call from Councilman Parker, who got a phone call from United Way because of high charges for temporary signs. And these are the signs that are on stakes that say, you know, Fiesta this weekend, or they could say garage sale, or they could say this house is being re-roofed by Joe's Roofing, or they can say my kid is a proud graduate of Hunter Central class of 1997. So right now, there is an ordinance on the books that was written in 2012. And it was amended in 2019, but I can't tell what the amendment was. So I don't know if this goes back to 2012, if this is more recent. But the bottom line is every single one of those little temporary signs comes with a $50 fee, permit fee, which is untenable. It's like silly. So I had a almost 2-hour conversation with our zoning officer, Pat Rinaldi, regarding these signs, and they fall into all kinds of categories. And he really wants to see this ordinance amended so that it becomes more tenable. So I've had at least one conversation, 1.25 conversations with our attorney about this. So
One,
1.25.
it was like 1/3 at least.
Okay. So we're looking at categories. So I will give you like certain ideas I have after talking to Pat. We already, for large events, we already have a permitting process with a permitting fee. One is a not-for-profit fee, one is a for-profit fee. I'm suggesting that we move a number of signs into that permit. When you pay your permit, you get X number of these temporary signs that comes with the event. Signs have to have a date certain. They could go up, Pat suggested 14 days before the event, and coming down not more than 7 days after. He would prefer 3, I don't care. So that would take out a whole big chunk of these, where right now the Fiesta United Way was supposed to be charged $50 a sign. Pat couldn't stomach doing that to them because they're a good cause. So he charged them $50 for 10 signs. But even that, you know, it's like if they're already paying a permit for an event, we can just build it in. The second one is garage sales. We already charge a permitting fee for garage sales. And I hope everybody in this room knows that garage sales in this town are not free. I think it's a $5 permit. And again, it could come, since you're already paying a permit fee and it's a date certain or weekend certain, again, we could put a limit of 10 signs on the private property around town. They must come off at a certain time after your garage sale. And get rid of those signs and worry about those, right? So anybody have any objections so far?
No, I think it's great.
Okay. The next group of signs are the for-profit signs, like I don't know if you do this in your business, Trent, house being painted by Levitt Painting.
Everybody tells me it should.
Good, don't do that. So Pat feels very strongly that the for-profit signs should have a $50 fee to go on somebody's lawn for 30 days. So whether it's a real estate sign, whether it's a Joe's Roofing sign, whether it's a, paving sign, whatever it is, that already has the $50 fee, and that we should stick with that, but there's no time limit, and it should be stuck with for 30 days. That's his next suggestion. The next one are the temporary signs that we see for businesses, like if Sage is having a trunk show or somebody's having a grand opening, again, date specific, small business, $25 or $50 for up to 10 signs around town, not on their property, would have to go up for not more than 2 weeks before the date specific event, coming down 3 to 7 days after the specific event. But small business, $25 was passed.
So wait, did you say not on their property?
This would be.
So if it's in front of their store, the sign is in front of their store, so this is the store, why wouldn't we want them to do that?
Why wouldn't they want them to?
Why wouldn't we want, when you said not in front of their store?
No, I mean, including, like,
Oh, I'm
isn't
sorry.
like they're gonna put a sign out,
I'm sorry.
around town.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I was not clear.
Yeah,
So
okay.
signs around town, wherever they're gonna put them on public easements and public rights of way, then it would be limited to 10 signs. It would be their small business,
Mhm.
$25. If it's a business that just wants to say,
Here.
I'm here, right? Sage is here. Pat wants to stick to the $50 a sign. Because it's not generating anything and it's just a mess. Okay, so that's all of them. The next group of signs are my kid graduated from, or I'm going to this college, private property, your lawn. Pat wants to see them limited to 30 days from the time they're noticed by the property maintenance official. No charge whatsoever. It's on your own property, free for 30 days. That would include basically any sign you want to put on that would be like Immaculate Conception's annual carnival. You could have that on your lawn for 30 days. That would include, it includes, and I'm going to just say this, it includes anything but campaign signs with a candidate. That is protected under the First Amendment. There's a lot of case law on this, but it would include everything else. Green Lives Matter, Green Lawns Matter,
I don't know.
MAGA Forever. So it's a way that Pat suggested controlling those 30 days, and after 30 days, we could charge $10 a month to let people keep those signs up. So he just wants to see that there's just a lot of signs in this town, and I don't think I realized how many signs there were until Pat brought this to my attention. I mean, right now it's graduation season. There is a huge number of signs in this town for 4th graders, 8th graders, and high schoolers, and college kids. I mean,
I think that's
Huge.
celebratory. I like
It
it.
is.
I like it.
right, right.
But what this
So-
is saying is like this goes on forever and ever. So there needs to
Yeah.
be some type of.
But up until recently, there was my kid graduated from Hunter Central High School in 2022 sign on somebody's lawn. So people get lazy about taking them down.
So that,
They're really proud.
so that would be a 30-day.
Will be a 30-day no fee. Your private property owned.
But that includes all those other.
Well, what do you do with the others? What do you do with the others?
I feel like some signs though are like just part of people's decor, if you will. So how are we gonna charge them if they're just, that's like it makes their home their home. You know what I'm trying to say?
Councilwoman, this is why this is a conversation for the work session, because Pat is trying to get a handle on it, because the current ordinance, every one of those signs should be charged $50, every
Yeah.
single. one.
See, I would disagree with that. You know, I understand if a sign is looking ratty, there's got to be something, you know, of course, you know.
Yeah, we need to fix it, and you guys need to come up with the policy, right? So Pat has weighed in pretty heavily about like Eatontown's ordinance, because he works in Eatontown as well. And he told me, like, even the political signs in Eatontown, you're not allowed to put them up until 2 weeks before an election, and they have to be down within 3 days after an election. Personally, I love that, because nothing makes me crazier than political signs. But that's, I mean, Eatontown, and that's okay. I mean, the law, as long as you treat everybody the same and there's limits, you can do that, but you can't.
But the bottom
So-
line is that the way, because we've got to fix it, because
gotta
it's
fix it.
$50 per sign.
No matter
Even
what.
if it's on your property and it doesn't, you
A
still pay
resident is,
$50.
to me,
So you
that's.
gotta
not
get rid
the-
of that and make it so that it's reasonable, that, and
Well, I think
you do
there's
have
a-
some limitations.
it sounds to me, just listening here, there's a line
There's tiers,
to
right?
go
Yes.
over
Yes.
into that. Now
You
you're
know what,
gonna
I'm
charge
thinking this-
$50.
So let me go back to the beginning. Everybody was okay with the permit, including 10 signs, right, or 15 for major events,
I
like,
agree.
what's the number?
I actually had an issue on that, not so much that I'm against it, but I think we need to think about how much does it cost for you to print 10 signs versus 25? So I think we need to make sure that, that fee is, like, I think when you make up those signs, there's like a minimum amount you have to order to begin with. So if there's a minimum of 20 signs for $10, then we should allow the 20 signs to attend. Like, I think the fees need to kind of.
Well, if you're ordering from a big house, if you're ordering online, there is a minimum, but if you go down to,
If they're gonna print up, they're gonna be charged X amount of dollars, but they only get 10 signs. But they're gonna be charged, like, the minimum amount of signs they're allowed to even print up is
No, no, but if
20,
you
but
go-
I
if
think
you
our
go to-
fees need to
Susan,
reflect that.
if you order from a big campaign house, there is a minimum, but if you go to Print Out or anybody local, you can
There's
order
no
10
minimum.
signs, there's no minimum.
No, well, I don't know that, that's why
Yeah.
I'm bringing the
Well, no,
subject
right,
up,
I mean,
so understand what I'm saying.
We might have been known to have free state of Tusaro signs on our house, right? It's a few dollars and we put them up for Juneteenth. That's our thing. And this year I couldn't find them, so they didn't go up. But, you know, that's what we do. And you know what? I'm gonna say this. I am obviously a Democratic Party member and we do see like Trump flags and things. But you know what? I'm not gonna tell my neighbors that they can't have that. And if it's that much of an eyesore to you, or that much of an issue, then. maybe
So
it's
can I
you.
don't think
back,
that's the
wait.
issue. I don't think that's the issue. I think you're missing the point. The point of it is that we're not saying it's not that you're not allowed to have signs, it's that the cost of the sign. So if you have that sign up, it's going to cost you $50 every time you have, and if you put it in more than one place, it's gonna cost you $50 for each time.
That's what it
That's
says
the
now.
one, that's
Yeah,
our
oh,
ordinance.
yeah, I
says.
have to get rid of that one.
Okay,
Okay,
so, wait, wait,
don't burden it on our
So the point of it
residents.
is that it's, if you put that sign out and it's more than 30 days, then you're gonna pay, the next 30 days, you're gonna pay. So that's the point, you're gonna continuously pay.
So let me go through these categories and see if we can get a concurrence here, so that Chris can write and fix this ordinance. So the big events where there's for-profit and not-for-profit, and they're already paying a fee. You guys wanna do 10 signs, you wanna do 20, you wanna do 15, how many come with the permit?
I think that more than 10, less than 50.
No, I didn't say 50, I think Pat would be
No,
quick
you
if I
know
say
what?
50.
Well, where does
So
that
I
come
think
from?
that
What
Is
is-
it
what-
arbitrary
what-
or based on the square mile?
We're a small
How
town.
many signs?
He said 10, I mean, we could go to 15. It's a tiny town.
But if you
And if
have
you live in
15
Raritan
signs,
Township,
still-
that's on Raritan Township. If you put it in the borough, it's X number. So, you know, the borough, you know, you can go out into the circles that are Raritan Township and they don't count. They only count if they're in the borough.
So it's either gonna be 10.
Pick a number, guys. 15, okay, so 15 signs for the big events.
For
That's
nonprofits
new.
or
For
for
both.
profit?
New ordinance. That's signs that are already permitted in our current ordinance.
Right now, what the ordinance says is every single time you want to put up, we don't care how many it is, it's $50.
You wanna cap
Every
that? Let me
sign.
make sure I get this,
We're
Mayor.
gonna cap it, I'm writing it down, we're gonna cap it to 15 and it comes with your permit.
Have,
And how much is that? 50?
The permit? No, it's
Mayor,
for
do we find people actually doing permit applications for that?
the big events they do now.
Okay, they do?
They have to go to the police department for the big events.
They have to, okay.
Okay, all right, so that's,
I have a question.
yes,
Someone a while ago had given my husband some information about that you're allowed to have a sign on your lawn, like what we're talking about, like on little stakes for up to 2 weeks without any you know, I don't know, permit or anything like that. Is that accurate or were we misinformed? Because
I-
maybe this
that may be in the current ordinance. that
okay,
is-
because then my question is maybe this might be the next one you're going to, but like businesses, say like a roofer, right? If they put it up for 2 weeks or less while they're actively working on your roof, that would be okay, right? They wouldn't have to pay. But if they
Sure.
want to leave it up for 30 days or more, then that's where the money
Right.
comes in.
Like to get rid of those professional signs. I'm just telling you, this is,
I think that's.
I'm just a messenger from Pat.
I understand.
All right, garage sale. $5 fee for a garage sale permit, allow them 10 garage sale signs around town. Comes with the permit for free because they're our residents and they're trying to get rid of stuff. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay,
We get 10 with 5.
10 for garage sale permit. Then you've got the small businesses with a date certain event. Pat suggested a $25 fee for 10 signs.
Make it the same, I guess, it's a nonprofit.
Like 15.
I think 15 is, yeah.
I could go with 15.
15 signs for small business event, date certain. And he also, for $25 permit,
15 signs,
right, because it's a
I get it.
little tiny event, right? It's gonna be up for a little bit. And he also, like, getting back to these, he'd like them all to go up 2 weeks before the date certain events, whether it's the salsa festival or whether it's a trunk show and coming down. Is that everybody okay with that? Going up 2 weeks before the date certain event? And then he said, not more than 7 days, he would prefer 3 to take them down. What's your choice?
Can you offer that stand? Lock it.
He
You've
thought
got to
7
get
days.
a day where it's got to
Yeah, they've got to be able to say, okay, it's the 20th, so it's now the 24th. 7 days? Okay, 7 days down.
Mayor, how would you distinguish, I'll spend some time in the ordinance now, we're getting some great guidance on this. But how would one distinguish from the type of sign permit for the mass event already in the ordinance with a small business event that may involve congregation? Then you talk about the salsa, does that involve?
No,
people assembling?
because the trunk show doesn't need a police permit. The salsa event had to have a police permit.
You
They've got
use
to,
both as an example of the last one. You said salsa and trunk.
they're only regarding taking the signs down and putting them up when they have to do that.
Okay, I thought you also included that in the, okay. So that will now span multiple parts.
Yes,
The
it looks like
the
every,
temporal boundary.
right, for everybody, it looks like it's gonna be 2 weeks before the date certain event and not longer than 7
I
days.
follow, I want to track that very. It's one of the Tetris, so.
Okay. Okay, then the I'm here signs, come to Joe's, or I don't know, just the I'm here sign, like, is that how you phrase it, Tony? So where somebody just takes signs and throws them all over town advertising their business, but somebody
So
takes
like
certain,
bookstore.
or a restaurant, right, just
Small business with no certain date.
with no certain date, just advertising itself. Pat wants it to stay at $50 a sign because it is advertising their business without an event.
I don't know.
That's what it currently is. Huh?
Right now it's $50, yep.
If you guys want.
And we're getting revenue on that 50.
I think it's,
How many signs you get for $50, man?
Well,
no, it's $50 per sign.
$50.
you,
Per-
so you don't
per-
see the, like, I can tell you right now, you don't see any more of them anymore because our property maintenance officer went after all the businesses that were doing it and they're all gone.
Okay.
Okay.
$50?
He
Yeah,
sold them all.
The
$50 a
commercial
sign.
stuff is constant.
So, so you okay with keeping it at 50 a sign? Okay,
That's in the ordinance, I'm Mayor, for discussion.
yes. And if they do want to do that and pay, then again, What's the time period for that sign? 30 days? $50 for a sign for 30 days?
I think that's fair.
Okay.
What do you think?
I'm.
No, it seems really, it's what's.
Yeah, I don't know if it's.
I don't know. My
I don't know if
reflective
it's
signs.
worth their money.
Well, but
I don't want to.
here's the slippery slope.
It litters the town.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a very small town, and so you have all these signs. Think about just driving down the street and seeing all these signs on it. It's aesthetically, it's not great.
Pat really wants to discourage this, and so does Dave Giuliani. They really want to discourage
like a big
all these
city.
signs that aren't advertising, come to town for this event. It's very different.
Yeah, I've seen a few recently that are, you know, that have been up for weeks and not cool. Tony, can I interrupt for a minute? Tony, I'm assuming you got some feedback from FCP on this, no? Of course. Yeah, I mean, like, so I'm wondering if you could give us some insight on what their thoughts were, because honestly, it affects small businesses the most.
No, the bottom line is paying $50 per sign. It's just too steep.
Yeah,
for-
yeah.
For a small business.
We're all in agreement of that.
But small business, they don't put signs out unless there is an event. Like
Right,
they're
so
having a
what were
sale,
their
they're having-
thoughts on, what were their thoughts on some of these, the fees that were
No,
going?
we didn't talk.
You know, I look,
We did
you
not
gotta
talk.
get a draft of
Yeah, we
something.
didn't talk.
And I have no problem sending
Running
it to,
by them.
I have no problem sending this over to the FCP, but we gotta have a draft to do that.
Absolutely, I just want to make sure that's what our next step was, is that we're not just.
Right.
doing this, we're
Meanwhile, we've got
getting
an
their
ordinance on the books that we have a zoning officer having a lot of trouble dealing with, putting a lot of pressure on our technical assistant to the zoning officer, and it's making our property maintenance guy insane. So we've got to get this addressed.
I want to make sure I get this right. $50 a sign to be small business no date certain for the days.
Just to
There was
advertise
some,
themselves,
there was some
right?
thought here that was too expensive.
It was not for me, it's advertising, you paying for a billboard.
Exactly.
Right.
That's exactly.
Okay.
it.
I just what I heard someone say. I want to make
It's
sure.
on with it. Okay, so there's that. All right. I think that's all the for-profit categories. Okay, now we get to what's on people's private lawns and how long they get to keep them there. If you guys, I'm sorry.
Councilman Rossetti mentioned, what about if we've got a contractor, are they allowed to have their sign on your property while they're working as a small business? Because I see them similar to the small businesses like on Main Street, so I wanna.
But they're not necessarily our small businesses.
They're not borough.
They're not borough small businesses.
So right now-
So,
I don't know, okay, I mean, I had a plumber at my house this morning, and his mother lives on Main Street, and he used to live on Bloomfield, and you know, he doesn't live in the town anymore, but he's definitely a local guy, and my landscaper too. I just want to make
So
sure
there's,
we're
there's
keeping.
people who are painting houses in the borough right now that are not clear. So I mean, where do you draw the line?
and that plumber's getting $160 an hour, so. Hey,
So rolling
so
a truck and there's.
they're a for-profit business.
I see
advertising
them
on
as small
private
businesses
property.
as well, so I just want to recognize that.
They are small businesses, but they are now getting free advertising while charging, right, a resident for a job. It's not like they're saying, put up my sign and I'll give you a $50 deduction off your job.
Mayor, I would like to, so the small, in the situation that Councilman Hart is particularly, trying to paint, right, wants to throw a sign. He finally makes the big decision to throw a sign up. He's gotta pay. Or someone similarly situated, $50 for 30 minutes. If they're there for one day. if they're there for
Right
a week.
now, the ordinance says they have to pay $50 to put that sign up.
Okay.
Without.
Even for 2 weeks or less, I swear someone told me that if it's up to 2 weeks,
You
there's
know,
no fee.
I really don't remember what was in there. I don't remember.
I would want to check on that, before I would say like what the fee should be. Because I mean, if they can put it up for 2 weeks or less and pay nothing versus we're going to charge them $50 for 30 days, it doesn't seem, fair. I guess. I don't know.
I would say draft this, perhaps to have Chris draft it, and then you guys can spend, I mean, we have several weeks before the next meeting, so we can, talk about it again, but I just want to get something on paper that you guys can react to and FCP can react to. So where are we on the for-profit jobber sign on private property.
And I'll check with Liz, Councilwoman Rossetti said,
Okay,
if it is as she says, with the 14 days, I'll leave it that way.
14 days free,
If it's not, then I'll change it to this. You guys can
So,
change it again.
14 days
So,
free, and then it would go to $50? Is that what you're thinking, Councilwoman? Somebody's
And then
thinking-
we would also have to determine though, like, who are we fining if they're not getting the proper permit? Is it the property owner who forgot to take it down? Or is it the business who should have taken it when they were done with the work? You know, how does,
Yeah, that's what Dave does. It's not you.
okay.
So we're gonna check on 14 days free question mark for the roofer. Okay, and then 50 longer. Okay. All right, and then there's the question of what about everybody else? All those other signs that are on people's lawn, whether it's graduation or a social statement or a political statement or whatever.
I just don't, yes. I guess maybe I'm not saying it. I absolutely love it this time of the year. I mean, my child's graduating, they're going here.
You
That
can
makes
still
me
have
feel
that 30 days for free.
Yeah, but then we get into like my one neighbor down the street, she has strong opinions and her signs are always clean and neat and she's been from her house for a long time.
I'm with Adrian on this.
But no, if she truly is, she's very active in the climate community and that's always gonna be there. So can she leave it up to 30 days free, take it down and put it back up 30 days later?
Oh, I talked to Pat about that. He said there needs to be like a 60-day down or a 90-day down or something like that, and then you can put it back up.
I think if it's not promoting a business and as long as it's not promoting hate or something like that, I don't see the problem with, you know,
Our,
passion, you know, supporting your causes and things like that.
sorry, I interrupted, please. All right, sorry, Councilwoman Rossetti, I interrupted you.
But that's okay. No, that's all I was just saying. I don't really see the problem with that. If people have like, hate has no home here, you know, it's part of our community, our culture, you know, things that people stand for. And if it's on your own property and maintained well, you know, I don't see the issue, but.
I think it's constitution for to regulate time, place, and manner of speech.
Time, place.
There we go.
What is
So
it? Time,
time,
place,
place, and manner of
and
speech, right? So, mostly we've seen like, you must have your campaign signs up for 60 days, down on 2 weeks after, right? Have been mostly been upheld. They've been lightly challenged over the years. Montgomery Township, when we used to live there, I think, they had a regulation. Other towns do. So time, place, and manner, I think as you color your discussion, I think messaging, I mean, I got a doozy right now, Bridgewater on Old York Road. I can't get down because it's a nasty message, but it's not time, place, and manner, it's content. And you've seen it across from 2000 Park, it's nasty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Well,
Yeah, I can't say it.
Yes.
But because we don't have an ordinance in place, even if we did have an ordinance in place, you cannot regulate content.
Yeah.
And it's
Can we-
not the message the neighbors want to
What
hear.
about-
But then again, I would say, and you guys know how I can be, Marjorie, you're learning this more and more. I don't like nannying. People are gonna have opinions and thoughts that you don't agree with. Mind your own dang business, okay? Like,
But what about the number of signs?
Time, place, and-
I don't think it's the content anybody's talking about. I think you're going way
It's
too
not
deep.
about the content.
It's not about
It's not-
content.
it is
It's
not about
about the
content,
sign,
Pat.
it's the number of signs and how long it's going to
But
be
one-
on
but
the
you're-
property. I don't care about the content. I don't think anybody's stressing that.
But
So
I
it's the
think,
number of signs and the time that it's on it, because just think about this. Again, we are 1.7 miles, right? That's it.
Not even.
And so, okay, well, and that's even worse.
that's why I said one.
And so then
1.1.
you have all of these signs going on all the time. I get it with high school, I get it with college, I get it with all of that. But if it is November and you still have decided that my kid graduated from high school, I mean, is it still relevant?
I think you're regulating aesthetic. And I think we're getting into like a neighborhood of like, if you put, a flag up for, a certain holiday or a certain,
No. two
you know,
different things.
college or something.
Don't even- There's two different things.
Well,
It has nothing to do with the flag or anything. It is a sign. Stick to the problem, stick to the situation.
Okay,
Well, it sounds like we're lumping in, I think too many things at the same time.
So let's stick to a sign then. What do
yeah,
they,
yeah.
but,
I don't know.
no.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Like at all. You know,
I mean, all
If you're
what
right,
Pat
no.
is saying is, you know, just do it for 30 days on private property, doesn't care what it is. 30 days on private property, that was his suggestion. And, you know, he also wanted to limit the number down to 3 per house.
3 signs per house.
No, for those 30 days at the same time.
One person's clutter is
So-
another person's.
Artie's gonna have a holdup.
I don't want to go hard, but yeah, I'm one here, I can.
I think we're gonna be bumping into some. I think we're gonna be bumping into some residents who are gonna say, well, I have freedom of speech, and trying to
But
regulate.
maybe the time is not
That's
30
my
days.
concern.
Maybe the time is more than 30 days. I'm not
30
saying,
days.
I'm
It's
not
not
saying
the
30
day.
days is
It's
the
not
magic
the
number.
timeline.
I know where he's going, I know where Pat's, I hear what Pat is saying. Yeah, so I don't know that the 30-day is the issue. Maybe it is 3 months, maybe it's whatever. Maybe that's part of the problem, is what he's recommending is the time frame. Yeah, I'm just saying. But I hear what he's actually saying, and I hear what he's saying because he's doing it through other townships. Excuse me.
Can I make it like, why doesn't everybody think about this? Maybe have a conversation with Pat if you want, with Dave.
So what is also saying, bring in examples, just bring in examples so that people can actually see what the examples are. So
I see a POW MIA black sign white, it's on somebody's yard for a long time. I'm never gonna tell them to take that sign down. They can keep that
No,
out
that's a
there
good-
for
no,
as
that's a good
long as
point.
they want.
That's a good point.
But then I have to keep someone who says, you know, anti-war all the time. Now we have to allow them to keep their sign up.
Enforcement is a vexing issue.
Yeah.
I've seen it. I mean, it's not impossible to square the circle, but
So why don't we,
It's
why
impossible to draw a line.
why don't we start with this? Have Chris draft something so you can circulate it to the SCP. You guys think about the lawn stuff.
Mayor, may I also make a suggestion? Why don't I
Please.
circulate it to other towns?
That would be great.
Yeah, I
Well,
don't
have they-
You can see what kind of like.
Yes, let's do that.
Can I ask one other thing?
Absolutely.
Are we limiting for the like business signs and everything, are we limiting that to certain districts or anything, or are we? Like,
Which
you-
is-
What do you mean by this?
like, if we have like an event going on, like the Fiesta, or putting signs out, are we limiting those just to?
No.
Districts or?
No, oh, no, this is on non-residential lawns.
Okay.
So this would be in public easements in Flemington Borough.
Okay.
So somebody can get 100 signs and poke them on private property as well, you might, if you're a friend of the Fiesta, you could have that on your front lawn, and then they can go down to Raritan Township and put it all the way around the circle, and no, it's not limited to anywhere, it's just not on it's on public easements. Okay, all right, so we'll start with this, we'll see where we get, and at least it can start to fix an ordinance that is, what's the word you just used, vexing. It's this ordinance is going to have.
What's like when you put me there?
Yeah, it's a really problematic ordinance the way it's right now, and we've really got to fix it. So that's,
Can I just make one last comment on this?
Yes.
Before we go on? I'm more concerned with people who have furniture in the historic district on their outdoor living room furniture as garden furniture that you can see from the street.
yeah, you have a neighbor's doing
Nothing
that right
to do
now.
about it.
Yes, there is.
Yes, there is.
Call our part of it.
You could do finding this.
I think we already have that. Okay, the other part of this conversation, and I want to get us into, we have a lengthy executive session, so I want to get to this other part. Is we enjoyed a banner here for a long time on Main Street, and when we did the beautification program, the banner equipment came down off of Main Street and is now gone, lost, or broken.
It's gone.
So, Councilman Parker and I had a conversation about bringing it back, but creating new rules and regs about the use of that banner, because that is a real commodity. We have a real Main Street, and it used to, the old policy was first come, first serve. So anybody like from Delaware Township or Reddington Township could ask to put a banner across Main Street. And if it was approved and then a Flemington event was happening, they couldn't put it up. So I would, Tony and I talked about a priority system in an ordinance that would create a better sense of fairness for our Flemington businesses and not-for-profits that want to have big events, as well as some government to government, if the freeholders are going to have an event on Main Street, they would have the fee would be waived for this, the sign. If they're gonna have an event at Deer Path and they want to put it on our banner, they would be charged. So, I would like to just let you know that I think that the councilman and I are gonna work on the parameters on this and get it into, also into an ordinance form for a discussion on the 15th of July. But we would really like to get that banner back up, and find out like what that's gonna come. I mean, of course, we don't pay for the banners, whoever's creating this, the event does, but we have to buy the equipment back.
So, and there's a couple of other caveats. Talk to my
I can't get,
champion. The reason it was taken down is because it was actually on Jack Hus.
oh, really?
And so it can't go unless we get an easement from Jack Hus. It can't go the same place it was. It can go further down by the post office.
Okay,
You can go down there. The other thing is the manpower to put that up,
that's, yes, which would get covered in the fee to hang it.
because there's like.
Yes.
On every time. it's taken down.
Yes,
So the fee needs to be increased a little bit for people that are
Right,
outside.
right.
Because it doesn't even covers, barely covers what it costs them to do it. And also it may, well, we can talk about that, but the bottom line is, unless we get an easement from Jack Hus.
Yes. but we should also have a conversation with the fire department about doing it for a donation. It doesn't have to be our DPW, it could be the fire department, I mean, you could do it for a nice, like,
Oh, it's still needing to purchase the equipment.
yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Need a price on
All
it.
right, so so Tony and I,
It's not huge.
no, but the bang for that buck, you know, I mean, like that, like we enjoy Main Street and we should be using that banner space because it is a real commodity. So,
Also,
and eliminate crime. We'll bring back a draft ordinance on the 15th of July. With some terms for you guys to discuss in it, and that's, so trying to get that going again as well. So that's it on the work session. We're up to public comment session number 2. Anybody has any comments? I need your name and address for the record.
Andy Bromstrom. I consider myself a very small business and regarding the signs, my opinion would be that getting customers is one of the hardest, it's the hardest thing to do. So if I was going to put up a sign for an event, you mentioned 2 weeks. If I wanted to buy a sign for an event, I want it 4 weeks. I need to be.
30 days.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks is nothing, people don't see it.
And she's a small business owner and it's been here a long time, like, you smell the thread, like, it's your house.
Yeah, yeah.
So the date certain event, you would want 30 days.
Yeah.
So 30 days, 4 weeks before, but
Yes.
2 weeks, I'm good, I'm just, not making sure 4 weeks, I'm fine. But we don't.
I think part.
We're gonna consult with our, we're gonna consult with our zoning officer, and we're gonna consult with SCP, and we'll see.
Yeah, that's my opinion, and my input, and you mentioned the days after, you were gonna talk about that as another.
Whether it's 3 or 7, and it has to come down.
7 would be better.
Yeah.
Yeah, you just don't know what happens in 3 days. Let's see, there was one other thing, oh, if I were to have a sign, if I was working at somebody's house and wanted to put a sign in that person's yard, I also think 30 days is a better, timeframe. I don't personally do that, but 2 weeks is, that's nothing. And as somebody who lives here and works here, you know, I would think that, I just think that's reasonable. What was the other thing? I don't remember, I guess, right now, but, that's my input.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, anybody else from the public? Seeing none, we don't have bills to pay, executive session, we have one addition. So I need a motion to go into executive session, like topics are negotiations, Cardinal Captiva and Courthouse Square, and the number 9 exception on,
You want years to do this.
I have, but I can't remember it, but it is, yeah, it's got the most nebulous terminology you've ever heard.
Yeah.
And then I'll
The
fix it.
liquor license accepted for all,
It is the liquor license exception.
Fortunately, government 35 years never used it, so.
I don't know if anybody's ever used it.
Talk about the liquor license,
What?
ordinance for the liquor license.
No, it's the executive session exception to go into an executive session. It's the number, it's the ninth out of 9 exceptions. And nobody ever invokes it, and we're about to invoke it. It's to talk about something with anybody knowing you're talking about it, because you could end up in a lawsuit. That's the translation of it. It's like, it's like the big secret. It's a secret. It's the secret one, but I just disclosed what it's about. So. Did you find it?
I'm looking at my own very shortly,
Okay.
but Carol goes down the bill.
Right. Okay. Find it. All right, so we're gonna go into executive session. We're gonna take a 10-minute break. 5-minute break, depending, 5 to 10 minutes.
Can I,
What?
Yeah, movement.
Can I have a motion to go into executive session? Is there a second?
Sarah, second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Thank you. All right, we are back in open session. And I'm going to go back to the agenda to item 9, consent, resolution 2024-102, resolution to renew the Borough of Flemington liquor licenses plural for the 2024-2025 license term. Can I have a motion to approve?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Councilwoman Engelhardt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Fasara?
Yes.
Councilman Levish?
Yes.
Council President Long?
Yes.
Councilman Parker?
Yes.
And Council Vice President Rosetti.
Okay, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Parker second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right. Safe
Bye,
trip,
Liz.
Jeremy.
Bye, good night.